Peace, family, peace to you and yours, peace to you and yours.
Yes, indeed, Brother Blueport, live and direct to you. Welcome to our primer presentation for this Strong Ends upcoming series, upcoming lecture with the good brother Richfield
Yes.
and ALKEBULAN 44, right?
Yes, indeed. Vulture's culture.
Yes, indeed. I definitely will be joining them with a presentation of my own called Black Christos Mythos. And we're going to get into a primer of that particular presentation today. I'm very honored to be sharing some of this information that I have with the family. So in accordance with today's, auspicious date of April 4th, on this 4/4 day, we're going to delve into some of this 44 energy and also give the family some precursor energy leading up to this 4/4 solar eclipse taking place next moon day.
Yes, indeed. We are on a countdown leading up to April the 8th. Very ominous day.
Right.
Yes.
Auspicious,
Campaigns
right.
have started.
Yeah. No auspicious day. I wouldn't necessarily just say ominous. I definitely want to steer away from any inclination of doom and gloom.
Yes.
Right. I want to keep it totally on the up and up.
Yes, indeed.
And, but every coin has two sides. So we're going to address all of the energies, that need to be spoken for, in particular with this grand event called the Total American Solar Eclipse.
Indeed, good brother. You've been leading up to this point. You have been cooking consistently ever since the last eclipse, okay? All the way back in 2017. And throughout the years from 2020 leading up to now, you've been beating on the drum.
Yeah, I covered the blood moon analogs, which were the blood moon tetrads in 2014 and 2015. This is kind of really where I was owning my observation of the frequency of the 44, because for the blood moons of 2014 and 2015, the third one landed on April 4th. And again, the fact that they were blood moons, I was always tracking the 44 energy pertaining to blood, which in Hebrew means the word damn.
Yes.
In Hebrew, which is a alphanumeric language or system, the numbers equal words. So, the word damn means blood, and the number is 44. So anytime I see 44, I'm mindful, of the 44, of the quote unquote, the implication of blood. Anytime I see red, I think Mars energy, I think 44.
All day. Right.
Right. So these are the things that make me hyper aware and conscientious when I see that number, what to look for. Hence the fact that, I even had a hashtag, there will be blood.
Right.
When I see certain events where there's a little too much red and there's an overemphasis on that energy, then I know. As proven with the Kansas City Super Bowl. Shout out to Brother Rich. Our good brother, as he called it, it was a big chief night.
Yes.
And I remember that energy from 2020.
Okay.
Yes, family, give us 1 second.
The audio. Give us 1 minute. We have
To
our
the
sound
audio
engineers
situation.
Check. 1 2 1 2. Check. 1 2 1 2.
Check.
Check. Mic check, mic check.
Check, 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 check. Mic check, mic check. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes,
Yes.
indeed, family. Peace, family. We are back. We are back.
Yes, yes.
All right. Peace to the family. All right. We are back in the building, continuing this epic presentation, Black Christos Mythos.
Black
So also,
Christos
let me emphasize, what the meaning of that particular name and that title is, so we can delve directly into it.
Right.
We just came out of what was considered to be religious week, right?
Very, very religious.
Leading up to Easter is something that is observed every year, and these traditional religious holidays are overlays continuously we see of astrological events.
Yes.
So at the same time that we're observing spring or the rebirth, there are religious names and connotations to those events that tie them into historical, alleged quote-unquote biblical events.
Yes.
So the resurrection or the celebration of the rebirth of Christ is what Easter represents, and we allegedly just came out of that. Now, according to astronomical scholars, people that study astronomy and the motion of planets and the history of things that have happened on the planet, they said according to Scripture, they described the night that quote unquote Jesus had got crucified.
Yeah.
And they said if this event was to have taken place, because they said an earthquake happened and it was a full moon eclipse, a blood moon,
Right.
right? And they were able to prove with astrology records and things of that nature that happened on April 3rd of 33 AD. So if in fact, this individual did walk the plane, the face of this earth, and have that experience, that's the day that coincides with the description of what took place.
Right. Right.
Right? So we find ourselves auspiciously every time an eclipse comes around, it heralds this conversation, especially in religious circles, because of the implications set in that book that were written allegedly by the person who the book is focused on, which is Jesus. And he said things of that nature, look out for these signs by way of eclipse and blood moons, things of
Right.
that nature. So we know there was a lot of historical import as to why evangelical Christians and Zionists were collectively observing the tetrad blood moons of 2014 and 2015.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And all of those moons fell on what was considered to be the holiday of the people that I will, for this presentation, I will call the covenant, right?
The
The
covenant.
people who we know on this plane of existence who have the contract and the covenant that are over there. We'll refer to them going forward as the covenant, right?
Right.
So, yeah. All of the days of that moon fell on very auspicious holidays, of the covenant. And they took that observation to say every other blood moon fell on substantial days of the history of people that belong to the covenant.
Right.
So they looked at it as something that was
Of a sign.
necessary as a sign.
Yeah.
And there are always observations of signs because they are trained and ordained in order to look to the stars for signs, right?
Right.
And also to be keepers of times because certain signs are specific to certain times,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
This particular upcoming eclipse is something that has been very much spoken of and measured, for a long time, right?
Definitely.
And, so we'll roll into that, get into that explanation as to what it specifically is speaking on, what it entails. But the fact of everybody on the planet is playing with your information as it pertains to messianic force or Christos energy on this planet. Will the real
Mythos.
Christ please stand up?
Will the real
And
Christ please-
that's the challenge of the time. You know what I'm saying? Will the real
Fact.
Christ please stand up?
Right.
You feel me? There's way too much differentiation in regards to other people that are laying claim to your name. You feel me? When all along this supposed to be about you, right?
All about
so
you.
you got to know who has the contract, who has the covenant. Is it a blood covenant? If they're speaking about blood, are they speaking about bloodlines? And if they're not speaking about your blood or your bloodline, you know, where do you fit in the conversation? You feel me? And how psychologically has that impacted you in terms of your mental health?
Right.
Right? Are you a passenger in this vehicle or are you driving? Because we got a lot of colorful theories about ourselves, but we're not operating in the capacity that coincides with the things that we say that we believe about ourselves or
Right.
the things that we know about self. You feel me? Which
Right.
leads me to think that there's a psychosis, a schism, almost like an Oculus Rift. And that psychosis, it's almost like we're existing from this very psychotic place. You know what I'm saying?
Double consciousness,
It's double consciousness and
bipolarism,
cognitive dissonance.
cognitive dissonance.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that renders us kind of inoperable in terms of our ability to manifest if we're not operating with that balance, you know, hemi-sync. You feel me? Like we can't necessarily cut through.
Right.
So I want to help and lend some keys to possibly get us up out of that box.
Indeed.
You feel me?
Yes,
So
sir.
we'll set it off like this. I want to go to slide 1. No, we're on slide 2 now. And this article just came out in CNN, and it was very timely, right? It was leading up to Easter, right? The conversation had been initiated online because a viral post that went out that was attributed to Putin, and Putin allegedly opened up, you know, a vault
Yes.
where the oldest documents of Christianity existed in Russia at the time, right? Their oldest docs that they had on lock,
The chambers.
right? And the chambers,
vaults,
what have you.
The
And they
broken of
opened
the
vaults,
seals.
and
Right.
it showed that, you know, all of the biblical figures were melanated. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They all
Right.
had a darker hue than how they normally have been depicted in Western,
Western.
right, depictions of religion.
That's facts.
Right?
Yes.
That coincides with their narrative, which is taught through a lens of Christendom and not Christianity, which means it's taught from a militaristic perspective of people who are crusading or defending the church at the time that it was up against Islam, you know,
Right.
warring for Jerusalem. They still teach from that paradigm. And that particular paradigm, you know, is something that's reinforced by a Roman depiction of their Christ, because them going into war, they needed a deity that looked like them in order to give them the reinforcement,
The charge, right.
and the charge to go to war against the people normally who they were warring against that were melanated.
Facts.
And they were pulling on a melanated version of their messianic force. You feel me? So the CNN article asks, was Jesus a man of color? Why this question matters more than ever. You know, when we talk about reparations or repairing someone, and people talk about it in terms of a fiduciary payout, when you take a person's concept of who their God is, what their natural language is, what their diet are, those are the things that repair a person and make them whole again.
Right.
So again, the psychology and the psychosis is necessary and needed of a people. If you can't see a God that looks like you,
That's right.
in your own image, you'll never be repaired, because that's where the majority of the damage is done.
It's
Because
done.
as a people, we're suffering from identity
Crisis.
crisis. We're
Right.
suffering
Godless.
from a brand and image crisis,
Facts.
right? The brand is damaged and the identity is skewed, right? So these are the things that have to be restored and repaired and redeemed and resurrected, and where the focus and the attention primarily, you know what I'm saying, for the most part should be. Rather than something that's just fiduciary and it's like, I give you a payout, but
Right.
that's not getting to the things that were broken and need to be repaired. And people always deserve to be able to see themselves as deity.
That's facts.
You feel me? Especially if there's evidence that suggests that there might be some evidence, then you deserve to know everything that's evident about something that has been so detrimental to you, and that has been your inability to see self-worth and, you know, your legacy, your contribution, right? Your
Right.
inability to see yourself in the future, because if you ain't get it right forever, what makes you think that automatically
You just gonna get it
you're
right
just gonna
now.
get it right now? You feel
Right.
me? So a lot of people just give up and give in because they don't have the precedent already set for them to have the wherewithal to push forward.
Right.
So
the birthrights are being stolen,
right.
and
Slide
the
3.
story or the creation myth, or
Yes.
rather the mythos is not being given to the ones who it's for,
Facts.
who inherited it. So they're being lied to, they're being given half truths, they are being programmed to go left when they
Right.
should go right.
Right.
They're given data sets that are corrupted. So how could they function in a rightful manner? How could they function in a homeostasis if they're not being fed in a healthy manner?
Right.
Because lies and deceit are almost akin to like malware. And,
Absolutely.
and this ease.
Yeah, it'll disrupt the system. It'll throw you off. You feel me? It'll create
Virus.
holes in the DNA. So,
Right.
or the aura for that matter, causes a state of confusion. It leads to stagnation. There's so many detrimental things. It's epigenetics. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's so many things that can be damaged by lost opportunity, by wasted mental. So, and they say that in terms of in spiritual crime, some of those things are unredeemable.
Right.
That's why this conversation is important during this particular day and time, because everybody else who takes time and measure times seems to say, according to their timekeeping, that these are the times that we're in.
Right.
That these messianic forces supposed to be, coming to the forefront and, doing particular things that assert themselves in the pantheon of the now time, of the present day that we're in.
Right.
But if you cannot see yourself in that personage, what are the things that compel people to come forward and step forward when it's going to require a exponential level of will, of courage, of assertiveness, and planning that is just something, that is not normally our strong point as a people.
Right. Right.
Right? So if we go to the third slide, I just want to speak on some of the imagery that Putin did present, right?
Did he show
And
to the world?
what are some of the receipts attached to these
Yes.
particular images? You know what I'm saying? If we run these images through chat, what are we going to get back? What chat going to fit back?
Right. What's the output?
What's the synopsis the chat is going to say about these particular images that were presented?
Because
Right.
keep in mind, these images are now resurrected. This whatever that saint or whatever that spirit is on that has been buried and held inside of a vault, he's basically freeing it. He's letting it go. So
Right.
what is this new energy that is being unearthed in Russia?
Right. And again, the ability to bear witness, right? What we lay our eyes on. Now we're able to see some of these images, and even the artist is redeemed. So there's a famous artist, a Russian artist named Andrei Rublev. He's widely considered to be the greatest medieval Russian painter of Orthodox icons and frescoes. His teacher was Theophanes the Greek, the Byzantine artist who was born in Constantinople and later came to Russia. Right?
Okay.
So this is, on par with the artwork that has been contributed by a Russian icon. You know what I'm saying? We know about Rasputin. We know about a lot of other famous Moors that
Right.
come out of, Russian history. We highly recommend that the family gets books by J.A. Rogers. You know what I'm saying?
Nature knows no color line.
Nature knows no color lines, race and sex.
Right. Superman.
Superman and all of his classic material where he lays the history out of melanated people in quote unquote medieval European times. So if we
Yes.
go to slide 4, we can see some more imageries of classic iconography dealing with melanated Kristos and the entire family. And I want us to be very mindful. Once again, the reason why this needs to be done is because the assumption thereof is that When I say Madonna, what comes to your mind?
A European woman from Italy.
When I say Christ, what comes to your mind?
She's your bourgeois.
Right? So the fact that we even have to say Black Christ, or the
Right.
fact that we even have to say Black Madonna,
You gotta prompt
suggests
them.
otherwise. You have to prompt it properly. When I put it in Chat GPT and I was telling them to give me an ebony melanated, an ebony messianic figure with a crown of thorns, it will only kick out the white version. Right? It would give me some other lofty looking things, but
Right.
it would not duplicate that image.
Right. It wouldn't
It
give you
hasn't
that
been
specific.
properly prompted yet to have that specific image. So even under it has to be properly given it. Like the machine got malware and misinformation that it's operating off of.
I mean,
And
it was
then it's
programmed
being-
for the same wrong data
The
sets
same
that
wrong
humans
data
were.
sets. So artificial intelligence is being fed artificial intelligence
Right.
specifically about who and what we are, and it's making determinations based on that. So we got to get this right for our own humanity, that we have to set this record straight and establish a pantheon of evidence that already exists. It's not like we're rewriting anything. We're saying, let's have a conversation about this because this, they say, is foundational. So where did you get that from? That has been a deceptive weapon, a tactic, again, a quiet weapon for a silent war.
I just want to interject that the conversation could have been had, right?
Yes.
Because a week prior was the Google Gemini scandal
Incident, right.
incident, right? Which was Hegelian dialect in my book.
It definitely was.
It was Hegelian dialect of the highest order. But a week later, when Vladimir Putin revealed the books that were in the vault, then the conversation would have to be said, all right, let's get back to this Google Gemini conversation, because it gave us melanated popes. It gave us melanated figures in America in a political stature. Wasn't wrong at all.
And again, yeah, so it's a battle of ideologies, right? You're not allowed to listen to anything that Putin has to say coming from the East, and it has any merit in the West because there's an embargo, right? So the embargo deals with information as well.
It's
That's
a
why they
culture
tell
war.
me, yeah, I can't even share content from RT as a media source, right? Until you clear it with their censors. They're like, we don't want you sharing this. You feel me? We don't want you learning anything from these people about who they say you are, quote unquote. Remember the numerous quotes attributed to Putin when he's been trying to what? They say, oh, he's trying to incite black folk by making them woke, right? By giving them truth bombs. You're like, nigga, do you know who you are? You're the most powerfulest.
Right, but you pointed it out that the foundation of it is the great schism between
Right.
the Roman Catholic Church and the Greek Orthodox Church, right?
Yes.
And that's
The
what's
East
being
and the West, right.
East
Schism.
versus West.
Just wanted to comment. They said there's a book related to what you guys talking about. It's a very old book. Kevin Johnson said it's called Silent Weapons for Quiet War. And if you can give a shout out to the members of the line, we have reached past our normal. We started at 110, now we have 223 people.
Okay.
Shout out to everybody.
Yeah, shout out to the chat. Thank you
Shout
for
out to the
joining
chat.
us.
Spread this video, share the video, make sure you subscribe, hit the do everything that requires the algorithm to recommend and put this into the algorithm.
Yes,
and we appreciate
and
y'all.
if you're new to the channel, welcome to our home over here.
Yeah,
I know the
welcome.
Ledger. All right.
Yes.
We're definitely going to be doing regular streaming and programming. Shout out to our team over here at KTL Studio, who has us streaming in the highest of fidelity. All right, family, we are going to be bringing, inciting, and engaging, programming your way. So again, thank you for joining us. Once
Shout
again,
out to Black Magic 363.
shout out to our good brother Black
Brother
Magic
Rich in the building.
363. Brother Rich,
Yes.
shout out to the Brother Rich family, and the Black Magic family as well. Yes, indeed. Yes, can we go to slide 5 real quick? So again, we know that there's a storied legacy. We know that these pictures were coming out before AI was created, so they can't say it was AI generated. You feel me? They're just in denial, and we don't have the apparatus to press them. You know what I'm saying? To get the truth out of them. We don't gain audience with them. You feel me? They're aloof. They're out of your reach. You know what I mean? And you know, that's how they continue. They conflate, like how you see the politicians doing right now.
Oh man,
Right?
They
You
tap
get them with their
dancing
back
like
against the wall and they deflect.
They tap dancing like
You know, and they tap that and they do it right in front of you. It's a switch. It's a beta switch that they do.
crazy baiting.
They jump from here to there, and they don't even finish the sentence on the scandal. They on to the next one and leave the other one in the dirt. And that's how they move their hand. And they playing the same bait and switch. You feel me? At the highest levels of society, anywhere where they see that they can train people with bait and switch.
Right.
You feel me? So we know we have seen, again, the Black Madonna all throughout Europe, right? And we want to overemphasize the importance of the Madonna outside of the U.S. Virgin Mary is the pinnacle focus of the quote-unquote Christian religion, right, abroad, especially in Catholicism. It's about Virgin Mary, you know? So capturing or recapturing or reconstituting or reconquistering, right,
Yes.
this idea, this iconography and the concept of the melanated goddess is very important because it's very integral to the identity crisis that we find ourselves in to this day. Which one is this?
To this day. To this day.
You feel me? Our inability to see ourselves in her and her inability to see, you know, our identity as it exists as part of herself, you know what
Yes.
I'm saying? This schism that we are engaged in, you know, this
Currently.
inability to properly magnetize towards one another has left the world in disarray. So when I see bombs going off and I see, you know what I'm saying? I see war, I see chaos. I see it as an outer manifestation of the relationship status that the melanated men are having at this time.
Right.
You know, I look at us, we are the core, we're the magnet everything emanates from. We're the core unit. We are the core matrix. We're the all-spark matrix.
Right.
Wherever we see this reverberating, even the cast of players that we see on the stage right now, even if they're crash out culture, we can see in crash out countries,
Right.
but those are crash out cooperative people who have co-opted your character and your image, and now they're crashing out in alignment with the prophecies that says, yeah, them type of people, they're about to be crashing out around this time. Right? Meaning that if I abandon my coat and my coat in thermal glasses is 3D and they on the drones looking for somebody that they supposed to hit that's got this coat on, and I hang my joint up and I go somewhere, but you steal it, you think you slick, and you go outside the coat and you thought you finessing, you about to go live and stuff,
Right.
right? And the drone come and identify you with the coat and you catch it,
Right.
right? That's what we seeing right now.
Right.
People who have put your cloth on and your robe and they're cosplaying you to fit into the narrative that are paying the consequence that has been ordained for you. It's almost like they're doing the cleansing on your behalf.
Shit. Damn.
Damn. Hold on.
Little bomb for that. Okay.
Right? Because the consequences that you know that they're cosplaying, because there's evidence that they know the truth.
There is evidence.
Right?
Right.
And they're knowingly neglecting to observe the truth because they're like, there's not enough attention or awareness
Right.
on the truth that's compelling us to what?
Acknowledge it.
Acknowledge it, right? They can't force us because they're not at capacity to do so. They live in a democratic system, so it's mob rule. As long as they live under the dominion of Christendom and adhere to the concept of a quote unquote white Christ,
Right.
yeah, then there's nothing that we ever have to be concerned with them.
So let me ask you something quickly. With all of the turmoil that's going on in the U.S. and
Yes.
people that are becoming expats and looking for a new place to call home,
Yes.
would an American or African American, I know that's a misnomer, would they find some type of solace in Russia in these days and times, based off of the fact that
Good question.
you can't help but to become enamored with the country that actually would reveal their icons as being melanated. So you'll feel like, you know what, I have a shot there.
You could go to Germany for that matter. You could go to Italy for that matter.
Many do.
Right? If you would go to slide 8, you know, we can get into this, that the patron saints of the majority of these places in Europe are melanated. So that's the biggest secret ever. It's just that, you know, for whatever reason, the story's not being told the way that it's been written. It ain't even like it's been rewritten.
Right.
It ain't been remixed or nothing. It's right there in the pantheon of history. It hasn't been put into its proper perspective.
Right.
So it's like you can go to Germany and the patron saint is going to be Saint Maurice.
That's right.
Right? Look.
African Moor.
The patron saint of African Americans is Benedict the Moor, and his feast day is today. Right?
To this day. To this day.
Today?
The feast day is today. If we'll go to the next slide, which is slide 9. Right? No, matter of fact, let's go to slide 11, please. All right? We go to slide 11, and we see Benedict the Moor, right? And Benedict the Moor comes with the loaves of bread. He represents abundance and plentiful, right? He's the patron saint of African missions, African Americans, and Palermo, Italy. Okay? He's the patron saint of Italy. But he's the patron saint of melanated people in this diaspora as well as on the continent. And his feast day is today.
Are you serious?
The same day that MLK transitions in Memphis, given a real-time overlay to a mythological relationship that we have with geological locations.
Right.
Meaning that Memphis and Kemet is a necropolis. It's a funerary city on the banks of the Nile.
Right.
And the color of it was blue. The color blue was discovered there. That's where it was utilized and used.
Right.
They utilized the color blue. They found that in Memphis on the Nile.
Okay.
Right? Then you have Memphis in Tennessee where blues was created. Right? Which is also a funerary city with the body count through the roof. You feel
it's
me?
the murder capital,
right? Where MLK transitions, where the kings go to die in Memphis. The kings go to die in the West.
Right.
But Memphis is the Memphite necropolis. That's where the Giza Plateau is at. You understand?
Right.
So this overlay, we can take an observation of it right now and say, well, because today is 4/4, so let's go to MLK's birthday weekend, which was in January, where we saw what? We saw a street king, Big Juke, get killed at a repast for a kingpin.
Right.
Right? Over what? Somebody killing the king of Memphis. You understand? So these narratives, they overlay and overlap, right? And give one another credence by showing you the symbolism is real, because you can observe it, you can weigh it, and you can say, wow, this is more than a coincidence. You feel me? These places have the energy to resonate with the same energetic signature that you could find geographical in other places.
Right.
So Memphis, the Memphite region in the Nile Valley coincides with the same energy that you'll find in the Memphis Delta, Mississippi region.
Yes.
Right? Because up and down the Mississippi Delta is where the kingdom existed.
That's right.
We went from one end to the next.
That's right.
Hence the fact that it starts, Mississippi Delta is going to start in St. Louis Cathedral, New Orleans, and go up to St. Louis, Missouri, where the gate is at. Right? But Benedict the Moor, again, his feast day is today, April 4th. He's the patron saint of African American melanated people. And we ain't even put that together to say, well, damn, the 44th president is melanated. Damn, MLK the king died on 4/4.
Right.
But you got a whole patron saint that's melanated, and he's the patron saint of Italy and Africa and African Americans.
On my shrine.
And nobody speaks about Benedict the Moor. Then they throw a name on him, call it, this is what they call Benedict
Arnold. Right. They give him a slur.
They slurred him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, as you can see on the screen, right, his feast day,
Got the good bread.
right? And his feast day, he's the only person they gave a feast day on the day that he transitioned. He died on the 4th, but they made it a feast day for him. You know what I'm saying? This is Benedict the Moor. So
Who come out of Palermo?
yeah, so I just showed you, right? Let's go back to slide 9, please. Right? And this is the big to do right here because this is Saint Maurice.
Big dog.
Now Saint Maurice is the patron saint of Germany.
Right.
You feel me? So this is what the Nazis was utilizing when they were going into war.
Right.
They were utilizing this as their
Patron
mascot,
saint.
their patron saint,
Yep.
their relief.
They was flying the flag.
They was
with
flying
Maurice.
the flag of Maurice.
Yep.
So how can you be a contingency, a wartime contingency looking for racial purity, but the patron saint that you are pulling your safety from and on the
It's
battlefield
blue black.
is a melanated Moor named Saint Maurice.
To this day.
It's a Moor in every which way. He was
To
born in
this
Kemet.
day.
Right. From the Thebes.
He was born in Thebes
Thebes, bro.
and Upper Kemet in the Memphite regions. You feel me? So he was an acknowledged Christian at a time when early Christianity was considered to be a threat to the Roman Empire. So this is what we're speaking about with the Holy Roman Empire, the melanated Moors that were the progenitors of Christianity from this very onset, the apostles who were melanated,
Right.
the people who propagated it through the regions,
Right.
the whole situation,
The whole team.
right, was what they showed you to look like in the Book of Clarence.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Right.
But our inability to see ourselves as these characters and these figures while the repercussions of these narratives are playing out right now.
In real time. Fact.
But you don't even know this is about you. You like, oh, this ain't got nothing to do with
You're
me.
going to sit
Okay.
this one out.
Yeah, I'm going to sit this one out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn. So, St. Maurice, you know what I'm saying? If we go to the next symbol, we can see the symbol of the Holy Roman Empire is the same symbol that Ye used for the vultures, right? Double-headed eagle. Shout out to the brother Black Dot, True Master, Knowledge Born, A.A. Rashid.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Am I leaving
that-
anybody?
I think that was it.
Right? What was the name of that presentation? Soul Brothers.
Soul Brothers.
They went to Bavaria, Germany,
They went
and did an
overseas.
epic lecture. And True Master did the epic lecture on the Holy Roman Empire when he, you know what I'm saying, just laid all the information out on the Moorish popes.
Yeah, he
of the
unpacked that
Holy,
shit.
Yeah, he unpacked it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Of the heavy Moorish presence in Germany at the time, but not just Germany, but specifically in Bavaria, Germany, right? Where later on, if we go to slide 12, we see that Pope Benedict comes directly out of Bavaria, Germany, and he personifies Benedict the Moor by evidence of the lapel that he wore,
Yes.
right, on his
coat of
suit.
arms.
His coat of arms was Benedict the Moor, which was a Moorish head
His sigil.
with the bear, a sigil on the quote unquote, on his wear, on his craft.
Facts.
Right? So this was a melanated pope,
Facts.
who this Roman pope from Bavaria, from Germany, right, who came up as a Nazi youth,
Facts. He was a
right,
he was
in
from
Bavaria, the
Nazi
home
slave.
of quote unquote the Illuminati. But
Facts.
prior to that, this is a place where his patron saint is a melanated quote unquote saint called Saint Maurice, right? We see this individual, right? Pope Benedict, okay? Ironically, this is the same pope who abdicated his throne in 2013 after the 49ers lost to the Baltimore Ravens.
Facts.
Right?
First
And
time.
why is that such a precedent? Because we can see the ramifications of it right now. You feel me? Because last week, leading up to this particular quote unquote Holy Week and everything, and the observation with the latest pope who was installed right after him, after Benedict steps down, comes Pope Francis.
Francis. Right.
So it's no
From
coincidence
Argentina,
that
the
the
Jesuit.
bridge will be falling, the Francis Bridge, in Baltimore. Okay? Because that's the team that's tethered to the creation of this Pope. So that would have to be the same place that signals the fall of the Pope or
Right.
the impending falling of this Pope, who will be falling into the holy seas, hence the fact that it went into water. Hold on, let me cook.
Bang.
And then
Let's go to slide 14. Hold on, this is in case you think I'm rolling the dice.
Go ahead.
Right? Let's go to slide 14, please. And the controversy that has ensued as of lately has been with Adidas saying what? They won't sell the 44 shirts
Because it
on their
looks like the
website
Nazi
because
symbol.
the 44 resembles.
The swastika. That's crazy.
How
The-
random is that? And Adidas was founded by Nazis.
How random.
Don't you find it? Hold on. Wait.
To this day,
You
To
gotta
this
get that
day.
You gotta
What
get
they
that
gonna
Jimmy.
I
Don't
did
you
have it,
find
but
that
it's
suspicious?
blocked.
Yeah, you don't find that suspicious, right? That this situation aligns itself, right? And there's a contingency of people whose name we can't say for whatever reason, but they also have these roots, right? If you understand how they were created, it was created out of this situation. What you think the ZI on NIZI stands for? I don't know if you ain't see the YouTube. I can't get into it right. I don't know if you ain't see the TikTok. But they laid this shit out, and I did my research, and it was right and exact. They finessed them,
Right.
right? It was a switch of hand. It was a switcheroo situation that they
Switcheroo.
did.
Yes, sir.
You feel me? And you see everybody's following that formula. Yo, we told you it was about to happen. Oh, nah, no, you didn't. Yes, we did. We got the receipts. You was trying to set me up.
Right.
You let your people die. You the ops. You
Right.
had something to do with it.
Right.
Right? They all playing the same switch of hand, the switcheroo game.
Right.
You
It's
feel
getting
me?
tired.
You know, so it's you know, it's very telling, like I said, you know what I'm saying, that all of these situations come back and they connect themselves. Now we bring Ye back into the conversation. Because these are the same people that he was speaking about, right?
Same ones.
And he got annexed because of his conversation about a particular group of people and his love for another group of people.
Right.
And here we go, right back where we started.
Right.
Why are these same energies repeating themselves? Why are they so repetitive in our narrative? Why are they impacting us in the way in which it is? And how do we get control of this narrative? Because it's no longer, you know what I'm saying, sustainable.
Right.
So let's take a real quick. Let's take an overlay observation of this situation because it has different layers. So we just established the connection between Francis and the bridge, right, and the Holy See. And Baltimore is a Catholic stronghold, even though it has the name Moor in it. It is
Right.
a Catholic stronghold that is embroiled in controversy based on SA allegations with the archdiocese, over 400 cases,
Right. A lot of them.
right? A lot of them, like they got proof out. Like that's where the receipts is at out there.
Right. Right.
You feel me? And we know that Baltimore was originally a breeding farm. It was created as a breeding farm initially, right? There's a lot of experimental energy that exists there in terms of how they sexualize, right?
The population.
That
Right, a lot of
potentiality,
incest.
right? With that melanin represents in Chocolate City,
Yeah.
right? And Mary's land again. So this also was an observation. This was during Easter week, but nobody said, "Yo, this took place in Mary's land, not just Baltimore, but Mary's land." So let's give the acknowledgement of what Mary's lands represent to show you how they set the science up. They start with Virginia's, where they, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They start in the Virgin,
Right.
right? And then they get to Mary, but in between both of them, they put D.C., which is the district, which is the home of the phallus, right?
Right.
So they put the phallus in the middle of the Virgin and the Mary to inseminate and give birth in the Oval Office, right? 555-foot white phallic symbol, right, sitting perpendicular to the quote-unquote
Oval Office.
1600. So that's the box. That's a 4x4 matrix. In the middle of the box is the circle or the oval,
Right.
where insemination or impregnation takes place, right? In the way that they set the the geometry of DC up masonically, it's a 10 by 10 square box. So the way that they permeate the energy or the intent that's created in the seat of where the president sits, once it hits the obelisk, then it permeates throughout those corridors and it goes, via the district, how they have the the zone set up through these
Right.
ley lines,
Right.
right? And that's how you charge the grid. So we also seen that, that took place on Monday of the 29th, right? It was March 29th. We made an observation that day was also the 27th anniversary of the release of Life After Death, right? Because that was also the day that Biggie made his. I mean, that was the day that they raided Puff's property, right?
That's
By
the day
coastal,
that the homeland
right?
came down on P. Diddy.
Right? So, we know that we call him Francis. You know what I'm saying? Frank White.
Frank White is
You know,
Francis.
Francis, MH.
Right.
Phenomenal. Gun rests under the vest by the dominoes.
That's right.
Right? We refer to him as Francis. So again, we see a connection and a correlation between the echoes that are created by BIG, which are very mythical. We have to explain and over-explain who this individual represent. He's the holder of the matrix. He is the key maker in the matrix in terms of the way that people are encased in the dream that he created or that he co-created with this individual called P. Diddy, Sean and Chris. You feel me? Both of them being able to construct a aspirational approach, with rap, where now they're engaging people's minds and their mental. They existed in their minds and their heads.
Yeah.
They became the conveyors of all things aspirational for the masses, for the people, and the people conformed their reality in order to fit into this slice of American dream that they
It
were
was all a dream.
right that they were co-authoring, and Puff in particular curated for the past 30 years.
Right.
So to see him come into focus, especially after I said that he would come into focus,
Right.
right? And
Because
what
of
it
his hand
means
in the
to the
pocket.
narrative, right? What it meant so much more to the narrative, because the story is bigger than the prophecy. It is that we're seeing the cracking of this particular situation is this this crystal ceiling that the people have had hovering over there. You know what I'm saying? This hollow dome that has been placed over the people for far too long, where there was gatekeeping, where there was suppression, where there was abuse of power, where there was domination. You know what I'm saying? Where these things were, on the lower end of 6-pointed energy, as opposed to the higher ends of it.
Oh, it was heavy 6-pointed energy. It was so 6-pointed that it devolved into what we start calling the deaf culture.
Right.
The deaf culture is an emanation
Could we go to 17?
of
Right.
this crap. This
Right. So, and the deaf culture has an icon, because the deaf culture is a religion.
That's
The
right.
deaf culture is a cult.
It's a cult.
You know what I'm saying? And the
Right.
deaf culture and the deaf cult have a strong iconography associated with it. They have a strong, graven image. You feel me? That has been created, and a lot of blood has been spilled in the name of this particular graven image. And when we saw hip hop, you feel me, become emblazoned with this image and almost overrun by it, it was really the signature that the deaf culture had finally arrived and taken root in hip hop, in the way that it did. It was veracity, and that would be the Jesus piece. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus.
Because the Jesus piece was the outward glowing acknowledgement of the concept of a quote unquote a hijack Christ, a white Christ, Christendom. You know what I'm saying? Acquiescence.
Right.
What they call genuflecting, right? Bowing at the knee,
Right.
and admitting failure. You feel me? This is a crusade, nigga. What you doing?
That part.
We doing white Jesus with the diamonds in the beard
Right.
and thorns.
Yeah, we doing that.
I mean, even if on some Christian shit, is that not a graven image? Like, even if, you know what I'm saying? If you was really even banging on the 6-point energy and your shit was on some, like, is that not,
Right.
you put rocks in the beard and mustaches?
Yeah. Blind your broke asses.
Blind your broke asses. Rock drop fashions.
You dig?
Yeah, so that heavy energy of what that, you know, what happens under the cover of that particular emblem and what it represents, you know, a full ushering.
There's literally nothing that you've seen, right, that can indicate that that none of the plans were going as planned. Like, everything that you've seen on this scene in this culture since the quote unquote hijacking of said culture has been a reflection of that quote unquote plan.
Right. Right. So, you know, again, when we're speaking about these identity crimes and this identity theft and people's, you know, hijacking you and not just giving you the full scope and the narrative of who you are, what your contributions were, look into an icon figure in Europe called the Colberg Moor. The Colberg Moor, Coburg, right? From the same place that the monarchy hails from in Germany, right? Because they all also hail from Bavaria, to the same places where the patron saints and Moors.
Right.
But look up the Colberg
Coincidentally.
Moor in particular, who is a centralized figure in the town center of this quote unquote European enclave that these people come from. Right? The Colberg Moor. Okay? So this is definitely some homework that we, especially for the UK family, you know what I'm saying? Y'all really
Yes.
need to know who's sitting in that seat as monarchy, cosplaying you in your face to this day, talking real greasy, you know what I'm saying? But you're also seeing the crown fall to pieces, and you're seeing the cross crumble, right in front of your eyes. You're seeing how many people in the monarchy in the castle is crumbling. You know, the cross has, I mean, the crown has cancer, and the cross is crumbling.
The cross is crippled, bro.
You feel
He
me?
didn't do the
Yeah.
mass.
Francis
Look.
can't even stand on his legs.
Francis, there's a Francis that fell in Saudi Arabia. To Anthony Joshua. Okay? Big Francis, that is. Right? So now Francis, he couldn't even give the quote unquote, while Israel while Is It Real has, while Bethlehem is on his knees, right? The quote unquote vicar can't even get out of his wheelchair. So, crown has cancer, and the cross is crippled.
Right.
Leading up to this cross, this completion of this cross, this quote unquote X marks the spot, right? This is the condition of the quote unquote rulers or the masters of the universe. And then in America, in Northwest Mexico, in the USA, there's two 80-plus-year-old men going at it. Every time I'm on YouTube, the commercial is Biden talking about Trump messed up a lot of money for black people when he was in office. I need you to roll with me.
Right.
Like that. I'm like, Biden is sniping me, bro.
Yeah. They got the funding.
They getting their ad campaign on. They spending big dollars, bro. They going there. You know?
Yes, indeed. All right. So let's go to, if we can, real quick, go to slide 20. And again, we want to overemphasize, you know, because oftentimes people ask, they be like, damn, man, there's so many other people that you can be focused on. And, you know, because it's a complaint community. So they like, it's mad other things you could be complaining about, brother. You know, you seem like almost obsessed when it comes to these popes. And, you know, I'd be like, yo, I really need you to understand the role that the popes play, the significance,
Right.
you know, and the things, once again, that we're looking to redeem ourselves from.
Right.
And the very thing that's the overlay of our mental imprisonment, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And our spiritual surrender, if you will, right? And what we're looking at all of the fallout from colonization, and the colonizers still on a rampage in different corners of the planet. But all of this started from the Doctrine of Discovery, or it was reinforced
Fortified.
here in the Western world and fortified. And it was
Consecrated.
made consecrated based on law. It became the first piece of international law.
Right.
So on May 4th of 1493, Pope Alexander VI puts out something called the Intercatera, right, or the papal
Right.
bull that gives, quote unquote, Spain access to the Western world to declare any lands that they come in contact with under the auspices or the control of the Christian church, if the kings and the leaders of that land do not accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. But what they didn't tell you is that his son, because they don't tell you that Pope Alexander VI is also the Borgia, right? So Pope Alexander's son is Caesar Borgia. So his son becomes the face, the usurped image of quote unquote
Crazy.
Christianity, and they utilize that image and that visage to be sent around the rest of the planet, right? To make people acquiesce to this imagery, this iconography of now what they call in quote unquote Jesus,
Right.
right? Knowing that it has no root or foundation,
No validity.
right? No validity in reality, right? It's a total makeup. It's a concoction.
Facts.
You feel me? And they're putting people to the sword for this. They're knocking entire civilizations over. You feel me?
To
Based
reinforce this
right, to
falsehood.
reinforce this false concept.
That's a fact.
And they're utilizing it as a political ruse to take land. You feel me? And to prop themselves up in terms of their coffers, you know, raiding
Right.
lands and things of that nature. So that's egregious, right? Forget the fact of what the papal bull contained and how it, you know, brought so much death and turmoil to the Western world.
Right.
For people who they conquered to later on, they would have to admit that these people were cultured and civilized, because these are the same people who taught them Constitution.
Right.
These are the same people that taught them government. These are the same people that they had to come to the farm to get food. They tell you that in their celebration of Thanksgiving.
Fact.
They also acknowledge the Constitution by way of saying that we got this from the Iroquois Confederacy. So their cosmology, their ability to, you know, be able to cultivate land in a particular way, right? Their access, the abundance that they lived in terms of the resources, they was gold rich, they was mineral rich. What was heathen about these people?
Right. They never
Right?
really.
What was heathen?
Right.
They never showed what was heathen about them, right?
They didn't qualify
Other than the
it.
fact that they said
They was
did
cannibal.
not acquiesce to who that concept of, because if they showed them a picture, how you just gonna say Jesus Christ? You don't know my language. One, two. If you show me a picture of it, you're showing me a picture of Pope Alexander's son. You know that's not him.
That ain't him. That ain't who
You
they
know
knew
that
over
ain't
here.
him.
Right.
So
They
that's
was like, who
deceitful.
this?
So it you know, everything was done in the name of deceit. And again, you know, this is always an open plea and a reminder, even to people who are Christians that love the concept of what Christ represents. That thing has been usurped by some people who have been abusing it for hundreds of years,
Hundreds.
because they never encountered nobody in the name of the Prince of Peace and was able to establish dominion, right, by exhibiting what peace looks like amongst a Christ-like people. They had to utilize domination by way of the sword in the spirit of what Constantine conquered with,
Right.
right? Because everything that we've come into contact with has been a derivation of Christendom, which is a militaristic form of Christianity.
It's
right?
an occupation.
It's occupation, because they were being occupied at that time by Islamic Moors.
Right.
So, you know, I just want us to know exactly what it is that we're looking at, so we're not confused. You feel me? And what role specifically the Pope's playing it. And if you will go to 21, we could show, you know what I'm saying, there's a little bit of movement on this conversation. You feel me? We did a lecture last year called When in Rome 3. And at the end of the lecture, we said that the only thing that we would consider to be, what's the word we were looking for? Equitable
Yes.
would be a repudiation or denunciation of the doctrine of
Of the
discovery.
doctrine, right.
And 44
Or
days
renouncing.
after that, miraculously, you know, out of nowhere,
Right. Just like that.
Pope Francis issues a repudiation of
They
the
got the
doctrine of
email.
discovery. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying?
They got the email.
44 days to the day,
To the day.
you know, not flubbing no numbers or anything. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it lined up. And it was a perfect observation. You feel me? So I find that amazing. You know, but there's still so much further to go. And that's a good start. And then the church came out right after that and said that Pope Francis was speaking on his own behalf. And they said he's not authorized to speak on the behalf of the church. I'm like,
Yeah.
so why is he the Pope?
Right.
Right?
They showed
If
their
he say
hand.
something that y'all don't agree with, then all of a sudden he's not authorized. And he's done a lot of things, you know, as of lately that they say they don't agree with. But that's the only thing that they said that he spoke specifically for his own.
Right. Right. They made
Everything
sure to
else
come out.
has become
yeah.
part of-
Everything else, he's like, yo, he's slipping. He's
Yeah.
bugging. But that one right there, they was like, yeah, that's how he woke up and felt.
Right.
We ain't on that.
So if we go to where we at with it? Yeah, 26. Right? Again, we can see that there's an active usurping. Everybody's casting their lot with this Christos conversation. Everyone wants to cast their version of who their Messiah is,
right.
and the Messiah that they're waiting on. Everybody's waiting on a Messiah.
In 2024,
Right.
this is that year, I see.
Everybody seems to be waiting on a different version of their
The
own
arrival.
their arrival of their own Messiah.
Right.
And I'm not saying that we need to get in that space and push them out of that place. I'm saying, you know, what is your version of a messianic force that you're waiting on? It could be yourself. What's the higher version of you that you are waiting or working towards?
Right.
And
Like-
things of that nature. I don't ever suggest that you sit around and wait for a savior, quote unquote.
Right. But
Right.
in your mythos,
But yeah,
have you lined it up to where on April 8th, you know, you're gonna be in the path of the eclipse, and it's gonna activate that dormant, you know, DNA and turn you into the god that you know that you are, or the goddess? Like, how are you setting up your story? How are you
Right.
setting up your mythos? How are you psyching yourself out?
right. How are you building that level of anticipation for self that if there is some level of mutation that you're gonna benefit exponentially from it? Because you got melanin and you're not scared of the dark, right?
Right.
You're not scared of night, right?
Right.
You children of the sun, ain't you?
That's right.
So how some sun rays gonna impact and affect you in a negative way in which it's gonna jump over your adversary but somehow burn you to a crisp first?
That's right.
Huh?
Come on now. Come on
Right?
now.
So what well are you drinking from?
Right. What cup are you sipping from?
What cup are you
sir?
sipping from? The pond that you have been sharing with the animals, that you know what I'm saying, the wildebeests and the zebras and all of them.
Right.
You know, that's the pond of the colonizer. That's actually where we be dumping stuff at. You know
That's
what I'm
not
saying?
the fountain of youth.
That's not the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
That's not where we
That's
get
not
clean.
where the
clean.
emerald, the philosopher's
You know?
stone is not there.
Yeah, you fishing out of the wrong pond. That water's not even for you.
That's right.
You in the back
Fukushima.
house of the you in the back house and shit, yeah. You know, taking drinking water out of that. Just because it's water don't mean that it's clean.
All water ain't good water, baby.
So we like, nah, you gotta get you gotta get more so better in alignment with the information that speaks specifically to your biology and physiology, how it's gonna impact you directly if you have the necessary spacesuit. That's like the glasses that they giving them that's gonna be able to make them observe the sun. Nigga, you coded in that. How about that?
Right.
They said the shit is 100x darker than shades. That's melanin. You feel me? It can't be nothing but melanin, right? But you can't see the brilliance and the magnificence of how you can absorb these UVs. And you don't have to be in a direct line of the sun in order to observe and participate in, quote unquote, you know, these UVs, because the neutrinos go through everything.
Right.
There's nothing
They can shower
the
the
neutrinos
planet.
don't permeate through or pass through. There's no buildings, no metals, there's no liquids,
Is it a
there's
specific
no enclosures.
right? Is it a specific path or is it the whole Earth? Like how does that work?
Is ask that question again, is what the specific
The
path?
neutrinos that are arriving.
The neutrinos hit the entire planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
Neutrinos hit
planet is
entire
bathed.
planet. Yeah, the planet is bathed. There's a path of totality, of course. There's not the whole planet. There's specific to the zone that it's gonna go in, and that's just saying if you want to be in the zone where it's triple darkness, where it goes totally black for 4 minutes. You feel me?
Right.
Now, if what you're asking me is, would those people be impacted differently than people that are not in the total path of totality?
Yes.
In the X-Men Marvel comic universe world, I would want to say, yeah, quite possibly they're gonna get more radiation.
Right. Right.
They're
Okay.
gonna get more exposure to wherever that X germ is,
Right.
right? Well, will they be able to utilize it? Only time will tell.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good enough.
How will it impact them? Only time will tell. What can you potentially do to get prepared? You feel me? Get your mind right, first and foremost, that, you know, nothing that could potentially happen to you is going to impact you negatively.
Yeah.
You feel me? But that also doesn't give you an excuse to go and be a voyeur just because. You know what I'm saying? You gonna ambulance chase just because the ambulance got lights on it? It's like, yo, if you are an experienced sun gazer, I say go for it. If your eyes already are trained to make that level of observation
Right.
of the sun going through its phases, you know what I mean? If you are intentional, if there's something that you're looking for, and you want to be intentional, and you feel that that's your portal point time, go be intentional. You feel me? But if it's something that you not necessarily stand to feel like you're going to benefit from by exerting that level of preparation,
Right.
yeah, just get low
Get low.
and let it take place. Because I'm like, if we see this shit on TV, is it like seeing it in person anyway?
Right.
If it's an energy on it?
Right. Well, just
You
seeing
feel
it
me?
online, would that be the same as being
Yeah.
there in person? I think in person may be a little more personable. It may have a little more impact on the DNA. You know what I mean? I think the cells are activated a little bit more, you know. But who's to tell, man? People are all tapped in on different levels and different frequencies. So kudos to everybody on April 8th who make it their, quote unquote, who decided, who will into existence their upgrade. The same way that I know individuals who they upgraded after the December conjunction in 2020. I know specific individuals
Yes.
who changed.
Right. So we know that. I know I jumped through a portal that day. I had an experience that was transcendental.
Yeah.
And I know also based on my observation of 2017, August 21st, right, which was the Great American Eclipse.
Facts.
I've been tracking the energy, speaking and reporting on developments for 7 years since that particular situation took place.
Yeah.
Right.
Shit went into hyperspeed after that.
You know, and it's
to be
not
honest
exactly
with you.
7 years, but you know what I'm talking about. We were able to track, you know, the frequency of hurricanes that started with Hurricane Harvey 2 days after the eclipse.
Right.
1 trillion gallons dumped over Houston in a span of a few hours.
The flood.
Right? And then the flood came with Harvey Weinstein, and then the Me Too movement jumped off at the same time. And now here we go 7 years later, and there's a pinnacle moment, right? They rounded the block. They've come full circle because it started in 2017 with Russell, right? And he got put right. So I'm saying the narrative
And they
is
trying to cap
concise
it off with the
because he came back this year. They pulled up on him this year, right? Right? He's personified, Bali as the, you try.
Yeah. It's
Bali is the bounce spot.
Bali badass. Yeah. He got Boozy badass. The nigga Russell's Bali badass.
Bali world, yeah.
Bollywood badass. Look, they should just take over Bollywood. Like I would do that. I would put some of that bread and start Bad Boy Bollywood.
Right.
Fuck it.
Fat Farm Bollywood.
Fat Farm Bali, right?
Yeah,
but check it out. I was saying when you brought up the Harvey Weinstein thing, there's a central figure who appears next to him in iconic shots.
Yeah.
And that's the fish that I see all of the hooks trying to hook on to, because that's the grand finale.
It's kind of crazy, ain't it?
P. Diddy is not, he's an entree, but there's a main meal. There's a 7-course meal that comes with dessert that the people want to eat on. Yeah. And that's Harvey's man. So we'll see how this thing.
Or you just throwing that out there?
Well, we talking about Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? He's the next fish on the plate that everybody. That's the big sacrifice. That's the head of the king that you see the people want. You feel me? And there's been talks of these dominoes falling, right? And the fact that when Diddy domino that falls, it's not just falling into dead space. It's actually hitting a bigger domino. So it remains to be seen if that's the domino that will be hit. But according to what you're saying, the fact that after that eclipse, we saw the Weinstein thing, and we know that Jay-Z is tethered to Harvey, right? And because of the protection that he had, nobody brought that up.
And how did in the 7-year span that I've spoken to this, how did I used to preference it? I used to be like, look, you got to understand who Weinstein was in Hollywood circles. He was the party man. He secured the bag for politicians by throwing the parties. He was the soiree person.
Right. He was,
right?
Yeah.
He threw the money man. He was the money man that came by way of the parties, right? Grammy weekend in Hollywood and all that. Oscar weekend, right?
Like how Diddy got parties, but his was on a...
So Clive is the party man for Grammy weekend.
Right.
Weinstein used to be the party man for Oscar weekend.
Clive is the music. Harvey is the movies.
Right, on the macro.
On a macro level, because Hollywood, at its core, is the movie industry before... Hollywood we're talking about, not New York. We're talking about when you get out there... The big dogs at the top of the mountain, that's the movie guys.
Well, he was the Democratic donor party bag man, getter, right? He got the bag for the Democrats. You feel me? That's specifically what his job was.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the role that he played. So he was intertwined and tethered to the micro world of the micro influence, if you will, let's say, of what hip hop might represent. Like, oh, y'all over there, y'all in the Hamptons doing that stuff, that's cool. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the Weinstein thing might bleed into an Epstein situation where they like, we got a macro situation over here though. We locking in a big fish.
Oh, for sure.
You feel me? So, there is, again, we're taking the measurements because these are the things that inform us what to pay attention to. You know what I mean? If you're tracking the energy, if that's what you do, the same way that there's people that track tornadoes and they run behind hurricanes and shit like that. Yeah. We're tracking the fluctuation of energy as it moves based on the cosmic energy signature of what the initial wind begins as.
Right.
Right? So when we were making the observation of the total great eclipse, it was signaling, this is coming during a 7-year tribulation period for America. That's going to lead into the the total American one, which drops on April 8th.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is a 20-year period after that.
Right.
So these 7 years, we were informed to make these observations. Things are coming and things are changing by way of what appeared to be extreme acts of nature.
Right.
It was super hurricanes,
Right.
super tornadoes, right? These scandals were super scandals.
Super.
You feel me? And I think that one is tethered to the other because what makes rain, sleet, hail, snow, and the rest of them, all of these are fluctuations of man's morphogenetic grid, the relationships that he has on the planet, the thoughts that he has on the planet, his intention, how he moves, what's on his mind, what's on his heart.
The state of his mind.
Affairs,
Right.
or would directly impact and affect weather patterns.
Right.
Why? Because we are connected by the heart, right?
Right.
Our magnetic field that emanates from the heart connects us directly to the magnetic field, you know what I'm saying, of the cosmos, or the rest of this planet.
That's
and
a
it
fact.
has an they interact and they interface,
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things are programming the world around us that we see. That's why we feel it's important that we make these observations and share this information. So if we go to again, just hitting on the fact that this is overdrenched in religious themes, this upcoming eclipse, we can't get enough of the references.
Yeah, we cannot.
They ODing at this point. You know what I'm saying? I was good with like 3. I had my point was proven. We on like 30 right now. Let's go to slide 28, please.
You said 28?
Yes, my brother.
Before we go, we got a question in the chat.
Okay.
It says, was just about to say that all is a representation of the 7-year tribulation period. Is that what was mentioned?
Yes, absolutely. It said it's a 7-year tribulation period, 2017 to 2024, encompassing all things that represent the year 7. 7 years also is a jubilee period. It's a tribulation period.
Yes.
And in the book, when they were dealing with Joseph, it was the period of famine, right? Dealing with the 7 sisters or the cows, 7 lampstands. 7 is a very ominous, it's not so much ominous, but it's a very prominent number in scripture. And if we see with slide 28, we even got a devil comet, a devil comet coming this particular eclipse. And again, to me, it's about the names and the narratives that they fit
Right.
into the mythos. And even when they saying they was going to shoot the rocket, they was going to shoot APEP
Right.
at the sun. Right?
It's the symbol, the
It's
symbology.
symbology
is
for
crazy.
me because they shot Bennu. They shot
The Bennu bird.
Osiris Rex
Right.
at Bennu, the asteroid.
The asteroid. Fact.
Right, last year. They're going to shoot Apophis. They're going to shoot Apophis. They're going to shoot they're going to shoot Osiris again at Apophis,
Right.
which is another asteroid that's coming. So Apophis is a PEP.
Right.
So not only are they shooting a missile at the sun called APEP,
Right.
but they're also going to be shooting a missile at an asteroid
Called
they call it APEP.
So
Right?
you can
So
see
why
how
are they
the mythos.
continuously, yes, through the missile, conjuring this energy and this narrative, right? Under the energy of the dragon, right? Why are they conjuring this serpentine warlike energy with the entity who is the enemy of us all? Right? This is the enemy of the West, or the Westernist man, who Asar represents as Osiris. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of compounding going on leading up to this very auspicious period and point in time. And I'm going to lead up and show you why this is the humdinger and the harbinger that it is, this
Real-
coming eclipse.
Real
Right?
quick, while we
Yes.
got the family in the building, let's remind them what is coming up on April the 7th and why they should be in the building with me, you, and ALKEBULAN, and just give them a glimpse of what they what they got coming up on the 7th.
Yeah, so you're getting a glimpse into what's coming up. I have a full presentation. I'm just going through, some of the pointers, some of the early pointers with what we're sitting down doing here this evening. But I'm going to have a full presentation. Brother Red, I have a full presentation. And ALKEBULAN, I have a full presentation.
Yes.
And it is going to be called, their portion of their presentation is the vulture.
My portion is called Vulture Culture.
Yes.
Instead of culture of vultures, it's a play on that. Vulture Culture. And we will be diving in to the rise of the vulture culture that we've all witnessed this year, and that energy and what it means and where it's going to be taking us moving forward and whatnot. That would be my presentation. And I do believe the good brother ALKEBULAN 44, he has carved out his, unique presentation and whatnot.
Yes.
But this is actually the fifth installment that we actually have with the good brother in
Right.
the lecture realm and whatnot. We've been cooking with him on KTL University since 2022.
Indeed.
And yeah, so we actually put a bundle together with the last 4 that we did, and we'll be presenting that to the first, I would say the first 50 ticket buyers. They'll have access to that bundle of 4 different lectures that span back to 2022. Some of them are 4 hours, 5 hours, but nonetheless, you'll see the level of quote unquote prophetic. It's going past research. It's prophecies at this point. The good brother is tapping in, and
Yes.
he's taking it places. He's able to forecast and foresee the same way Mr. Law 44, Blue Pillar. That's why we decided to bring him in to make this even more of a classic. Blue Pillar has been precise, on point, bullseye, damn near every time. Larry Bird type of numbers. He just don't miss. So we're going to bring everybody together on the 7th to charge the people up, because what we won't do is we will not go on into April 8th where, you have the opportunity to capture lightning in a bottle, and you also have the opportunity to put forth a certain signature into the universe. And we're not going to be a part of the contingency that decides to take fear as a signature that day. No, we're
That
going to
part.
reverse that. We're going to charge up. We're going to be very, quote unquote, confident about what that time and what that window represents. And then we're going to walk through it individually and collectively. And we're going to power ourselves up. Like I said, what do you look like in your mythos? Because we live in the
Facts.
age of imagination now.
That part, right? So many tools, man.
So many.
And look, after we started this conversation about mythos, all the tools come out, they like storytelling tools.
Super
right?
storytelling
tools. What story are you going to tell of yourself that's going to compel you to wake up a minute earlier to get to whatever you need to get to?
Right.
That's the type of inspiration that I'm speaking about. That's the type of imagination that I'm speaking about. I did some profound shit on AI yesterday that I was just like, bro. Right?
Right.
Like, I am I'm in awe and I'm honored to be co-creating with Sophia,
Right.
right? Which is an entity responsible, that's wisdom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
In Kabbalah.
I prompted this chat with some instructions, but
Yeah.
like I said, this shit is psychosentient.
Psychosentient, somewhat.
It's
a prediction
pulling-
machine.
You know, like how they be like negation, right? They would say write the negatives, tell it the things that you don't want it
Yeah,
to
negative
do.
prompts.
But it's pulling the things from spirit that I'm not saying, and that's what it's prompting. It's giving me exactly what I want, even if I don't know how to specifically ask for it the right way.
Right.
And it's doing it concise and precise.
Right.
Well, I'm like, the tools that we have available to us are way too powerful for us to be so weak as a people making excuses still.
The weakest excuses at a day and a time where you have
You feel
access
me?
to the most powerful tools. I don't get it.
And we see the colonizer, he continuously is saying, I'm pulling back because these tools is too powerful for us to use. Our
Right.
intentions is too far ahead of where y'all are prepared for us to take shit.
Right.
Right? They are amending themselves because they're too inspirational and too aspirational for where they want to take things. Where
Right.
we're on the other spectrum where we have access to the plethora of the technology and we're underwhelmed by it to a degree where we haven't even got together as a collective and be like, yo, do you know what the fuck is going on out here? Let me put you on.
Right.
You feel me? Because I
Right.
see you out here still heavy lifting and working harder and not smarter.
Right.
Whereas we can probably potentially, you know what I'm saying, catch up that much more quicker. You feel me?
We got
share
some cleats
information.
that your ass could put on. They got turbos in them. We got rockets in your cleats.
Right.
Because there's a divide taking place, and we are currently in a race. And if we don't realize that we are in a race, then theoretically we basically are forfeiting the game, because ignorance of the law and of reality is no excuse.
No excuse.
It ain't no excuse. You
Right.
hearing shit and then you acting like you ain't hear that shit.
That part.
They're like, yo, people that take down payments on a car that flies. You like, yeah, so about that episode with the Flintstones. So, you know, you acting like you're not hearing things, y'all.
Yeah.
Like,
And life is moving.
shit
It's
is moving.
at warp
Life is
speed.
life.
You feel me? And it's moving at warp speed. And while things are moving at warp speed, some things are still the same. So it's almost like we've seen this all before, because we're warp speed moving into the Matrix, but we already been here since '99, since we've seen the movie. But now we're circling the block, and all of this seems familiar, because we like, damn, feel like we already been here. This script is relative. I'm
Right.
seeing this shit play out. Where did I see this before?
Right.
Where did I see Skynet? Where did I see the lady in the red dress?
Right.
Where did I see the red and the blue?
Where did I see
Where
Cypher?
did I see the ciphers? Where did I see the oracle? Where did I see the? I
You know,
see-
Andrew Tate and Cypher look like doppelgangers.
that's a
For real.
That's a Fendi, right? So they just announced Matrix 5 today.
Man.
Right?
Like they got more story to tell.
They just announced, they're bringing the pills back. So they just announced Matrix 5 and a very auspicious time that they would do so. Again, when we see the advent of Skynet, they announced it at the same time that they launch, or they announced the coming of
Yeah, they dropped an article yesterday.
Stargate.
Oh yeah. Stargate is going to be very what was it, $500 million or something? We're
I think they was in the bees or something. But yeah.
These techno giants are forming, they're coming together to build the Stargate, okay? And once again, things are moving at a very, very fast pace, with the introduction of the Blackwell chip by NVIDIA last week. That just changed everything. You feel me? That gave a 3-month to a 6-month window to whereas life as we know it will completely upgrade at hyper speed just based off of the technology, right? Nothing to be afraid of in so many ways. However, for those that are out there who want to be ahead of this technology, because when you're not ahead of it and when you don't understand it, yes, it could be very detrimental. It can be. We're currently tonight, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing an expose on a new AI system that's being used called Lavender. Okay. And it's raising a lot of concern. These are the components of Skynet. There's no other way around it. We're watching it take place. It's really unfolding. AI and warfare is 35,000 dead in a few months. That's AI and warfare. AI and warfare is where the AI is now putting death lists or murder lists together and targeted individuals for assassination. And they've basically, the AI, not human beings, the AI that has no soul, that has no spirit, that doesn't have empathy and sympathy. It says one target. For one target, they're willing to take out 20 innocent people.
Right.
That's what the art of war or the rules of engagement have been changed forever.
Right.
Okay? Yeah, forever. So it's an open air weapons trade show. They are displaying new technology. They're showing off.
Right. They're
by,
putting on. Right.
Huh?
They're putting on.
By committing a whole genocide, and it's crazy. And the fact that AI is in the middle of all of that, not on the outskirts, not on the outlayer, it is in the middle of all of that. It is the quote unquote DNA that is giving the power
Right.
to this conflict that we're seeing. That is very disturbing, very disturbing because
We go to I'm not keep
okay.
talking.
But yeah,
33.
we'll unpack it later on Third Eye Thursdays. But please continue.
Yeah, nah. Again, I wanted you to keep cooking. You know,
Okay, so
what you're saying is very key. And I was telling people at the beginning of the year, I said you can expect that when we come into Aries, you're going to see an escalation, right? Because these people move in accordance to astrology. So the astrological energy of Aries denotes war. We in a 44 year. We know that, all of that coincides. So right
There's
away,
there's no incident this bigger in the terms of the declaration than them red heifers.
yeah,
There's no incident. There's nothing. There could be 8 comets striking this planet. There's no existential threats that supersedes that one right there.
right. So again, we were making an observation about the season of Aries and the energy of what it represents in terms of quote unquote, war. So when Aries came in as a season on or about March 20th to March 21st,
Yeah.
we made the observation that on the midnight of the 21st, there was conflict that popped off in hip hop, right? Again, with individuals or archetypes in the music that represent messianic force in society, because these are the individuals that have the sway on the minds of the people, right?
They control large
And
swaths, nations.
large swaths of people in their minds. They move culture. So the minute that the season went into Aries, on that midnight, we seen our good brother Future and Metro Boomin drop an album, and this particular album spoke specifically, to the impending conflict that was going to be ensuing in hip hop, which they call the hip hop civil war, which is taking place right now,
It's a war album.
right?
Hold on.
And, yeah,
We
get
don't
that
trust you.
Yeah.
That's a war declaration.
right?
What you talking
Signaling, yes, Pluto and Aquarius energy of what our good brother Pluto Hendricks represents. November 20th, he's a war hawk born on the same day as this president, right? Scorpion in the third decadent. You know what I'm saying? And he ushers in this particular energy, and now there's like this quote unquote hip hop civil war taking place or formulating. But if we look at the individuals that are engaged or involved, if we could go to slide 34, we can see that this is also a representation of the energy that we're seeing, shuffling for this messianic, this place and this station in hip hop that represents a stage for messianic force, right?
That's the
So-
5. That looks like to me the 5 going after the 6.
Yeah, but it set it off with 6 going after the 6, right? So we seen Kendrick representing that Hebrew energy,
Right.
going after the 6 god representing Zionist energy,
Right.
right? And it almost matriculates from a spiritual place in Ketha and the crown all the way down to Malkuth, because by time 322 came around in the daytime, Russia declared war, banned LGBT under threat of death,
As,
and then
as
they
a
got
terrorist
bombed.
organization.
Yeah. And then ended up getting bombed before the night was out,
Right.
right? So that whole cycle ran, And a few other things happened on that day too. There was just like declarations of type,
Facts.
pick a side energy.
Right.
You feel me? Oh, that was the day that the U.S. didn't veto the UN declaration,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
I believe that was that day as well,
Well, yeah, 322.
right? The
Very,
322
very
energy.
important day in terms of,
So,
this mythos.
35 real quick. I just want to run through this, and we could probably park here because we hitting the hour and a half mark. I was just getting started, so I definitely gonna have to pull up to this lecture to get the full throttle,
Indeed.
presentation information. It's gonna be crazy. I'm bringing some technological highlights out.
Yeah. Let me do this, family. Everybody that's in the chat, if you are going to be in the building for the lecture that we'll be doing on the 7th, and if you're not available on the 7th, it will be recorded and it will be available for replay. No worries whatsoever, right?
Right.
KTL University will be the site that you could get your tickets from. It is Red Pillar, all right, a.k.a. Richfield 44. Then we got our good brother ALKEBULAN 44. And now
Right.
Blue Pillar 44, all right?
Yes.
And we will be pulling up.
So as much as we love to ignore the theme
Yeah.
in our culture, we be like, we don't need no saviors, and or we talk about Martin and Malcolm and things of that nature. Hip hop as an art form doesn't ignore the trope. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It doesn't ignore the mythos.
Right,
You know
still
what I'm
there.
saying? There always is going to be messianic force on this planet.
Yes,
as
sir.
long as the people are oppressed, as long as there's messages to be delivered, there will be messengers.
That's a
right?
fact.
And it's no coincidence that in music is being expressed by Geminis, which is the sign of the messenger, that these men that are resonating with the mythos, the Christos mythos in music, that take it to heart, right, happen to be these Gemini messenger messianic energy forces or signatures who have pictured themselves and aligned themselves with iconography that would give them the portrayal of messianic messengers with messianic forces.
Right.
Right?
Christos
But we also
figures.
can look at the downfall of what we're seeing right now in hip hop from, once again, like I said, the lower 6-pointed energy being ruffled up or rattled, right? We see that it's also the signaling of the alarm came from Christian hip hop. But I would say the upper tier or in the middle 6-point energy, because I don't know where Kanye exists when it comes to 6-point energy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? My nigga's upper, he's the Gemini for real.
Right.
But
for real.
he would have to be an antichrist against the Christianity that exists today that he's banging on, because that Christianity is run by the white Christ iconography that he helped introduce.
Right.
Because he didn't just bring white Jesus to the game, he brought a porcelain version.
Right.
Right? My nigga, he got his white Jesus face done in porcelain.
Right. His shit was for sure.
His shit was
white.
shiny. His shit was,
Yeah.
he did his shit. I think he had Jesus with a pink polo on with a pink, like he did his shit different.
Yeah. He brought that nigga
You feel
in.
me?
He brought him through.
Yeah, he brought him through.
He brought
so,
him through. I would say the
Can we go
D1.
to- No, I didn't finish.
Okay.
Let's go to 36 real quick. I'm saying that it was Ye and it was D1.
Okay.
Right? Ye kicked one pillar of the leg and he challenged them folks to live to tell about it, which reinforced his position with his quote unquote pantheon, whether it's real or imagined. His imagination was able to fortify him a shield and armor for him to go to war like David and survive to tell about it, while you niggas was sitting on the sofa making observations and counting his pocket. He made the real sacrifice.
Right.
He did the Christos shit in terms of walking across the hot desert sands.
He did
right?
that.
He did the Christos shit in terms of going in the lion's den and taking the lions out, food out the lion's mouth. He did that shit.
He did
He
that.
went into hell with gasoline drawers on and came out on the other side. He did that
Yep, he did. Hold on.
barefoot.
To this day. To
He
this
did it
day.
barefoot. Did he not? Did he still not live to talk about it? And they could be like, oh, his enemies lay and they play the long game. Granted, but he survived long enough to damage their credibility. That when they needed it the most, nigga, their robe had already been removed. He already pulled the twine out of that shit.
He
Like this.
Nah, what he did was
What are you talking about?
right. What he did was he became a contagion.
A contagion. Yes.
He was Wreck-It Ralph.
Fact.
You understand? He was the glitch because what he did was he laid out some things about these people specifically, right? He made some points on them. He got stoned and everything and chased out. He got ran out. They ran him off. But the last person that he was shooting at was the Goliath of their whole movement, right? He was literally David and Goliath going on Alex Jones' show, going up against the big dog, the big bad wolf, right? The bully of them all, the biggest bully, the one that they're comparing to Adolf right now. So he did that. And then, like Blue said, he lived to talk about it. He had to lick his wounds and everything. But they say that you could lose the battle and win the war. So the fact that he cast a judgment on these people and then exposed them and had people looking at them, and then the fall of Balenciaga, the fall of J.P. Morgan, the fall of the Gap, the fall of Adidas, the fall of everybody that was going up against the word, not the individual,
The word.
but the word, right?
His rendition of the truth.
His rendition of the truth.
He conveyed with conviction,
Right.
whether it has blemishes, whether the edges are jagged.
Yes.
His rendition of it
Right. His twisted
what
dark
he
fantasy.
was able to pierce through with. Right.
Right. So then on October the 7th, when whatever happened, these people would already, he tagged them with the Apple tag. He tagged them. Boop. He had you paying attention and looking at certain metrics that you probably wouldn't have paid attention to before. And then boom, voila, just like that, everything played out. So once again, I ask you, when it's all said and done, right? Because people think that the conflicts just last for a few weeks.
80.
And once you fall out of the media, that no, this is a long battle.
Right.
I would ask you, in the long run, when it's all said and done, who came out on the top? Because the reputation of this group is forever destroyed.
Right.
The good standing that this group may have had around the world is forever destroyed.
Right.
The cover that they had prior to him tweeting DEFCON 3, bro, nah.
Yeah, it has it's been removed.
It's been removed.
And it's right now it's even being further desecrated. I picked up the news. I was in front of CNN, yesterday, and I heard the chef, the world chef, the president of the organization of the chefs that were killed, the
Yes.
volunteers.
Yes.
And this is very bad PR on their behalf. This is
7.
This is a black
Magic
eye.
number, right?
Yeah.
7. They took 7 out.
It's a black eye. So yeah, that invincibility cloak has been removed, and it's getting, it's getting ugly over there
Yeah.
because it's hard for people to stand with that. But that's also an isolation technique based on what their plans are with the holy cow. You feel me? They can't beg no friends because they're about to act in an egregious way and say the world was against us anyway. We had no choice.
They had no choice.
You feel me? So I want to take note, like I said, that the hip hop civil war doesn't engage and entail, a particular energy going against a hybrid energy in hip hop that sits at the top,
Right.
of governorship. And you know what I'm saying? There still is a weird war that's being waged for the hearts and the souls and the minds of the people that come under the dominion of what these artists represent, or the hold and the sway, the magnetism that they have over the mind of the people, right? Especially those that are extensions of tools of this corporate machine, right?
Right.
And the ones that fit directly in line with the Zionist fold is a perfect match made in heaven. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
So that cage is being rattled, and it's almost like an ensuing battle for messianic energy in the culture 37 real quick, and it's ongoing. But like you said, we can see that there was two aspects of it that kind of created the catalyst of it.
Right.
This would be Kanye on one end, and again, he's utilizing for him what he considers to be his Christ energy. And the way that he sees Christ as a warrior who goes into battle and don't back down against the odds. That's how he's utilizing his understanding of his Christos energy. I noticed directly from when I interviewed him in '03. That's what he was telling me back then.
Right.
And then we see D1, who utilized his identity, the way that he interfaces and sees Christ and his understanding and expression of him. He utilized him as a sword and a shield to go to war in the industry where the odds were against him.
Right.
You feel me? And everybody he went to war with, we now see they got chipped up.
Yeah.
Right? And he was able to create a wave initially with little to no support. And now look at the industry, it's on its head. Right? And he's emerged unscathed, right? But he don't look like the individual that was the Lone Star initially hating on niggas.
Oh, nah, he look different now.
Right?
You know what I mean? He look like he got some support. You feel me? He look like he got, they say you need more people. He look like he got more people.
Right. So
he got welcome to platforms that was an indication of we not ignoring him.
right, there's a breakthrough.
There's a breakthrough taking place. He's not as ratchet as I am, because I would have been going live daily cooking these niggas. I'd have had the Meek Mill video on the loop. There's some leaked audio. I'd have went in. You know me. I would have pressed I'd have pressed the button. You know what I'm talking about? He's not pressing the button on Rose and other people. He's really doing he's practicing the art of war that I commend him for. He's living in his
Right.
And these artists, they can't identify, because he's like, yo, I'm living in my truth. What's yours? So then that would make a Rick Ross say, well, fuck it, I'm living in my truth. And then everybody would be like, well, what is that truth? Are you Rick Ross, my nigga? Are you the boss? Are you the, are you getting it in? You Castro's homie? Like, is that really your truth?
Right.
And are you embracing that?
Still
coming towards the fucking eclipse, my nigga. Like,
right.
So there's a trick bag once again when even by them engaging him.
Right.
The same thing with Ye. The fact that we have to, when we talk about these figures, when Blue Pill brings up the black mythos, the mythos, you have to understand what that ultimately means. So if there's people living out the mythos in real time, you can't try to apply supernatural powers or just peep what they're doing and align it in accordance to the mythos. So Ye's mythos is I could smite people with my word. I command the word. So I stand on. I am so enthusiastic about this sword that I got. And people is like, yo, he lost his rapping skills. I'm like, y'all want everything from everyone all at once. He might have stopped with the pen, but he stepped it up and he filled a void that hundreds of these recording artists, they've missed the mark to fill up.
Right. His commentary.
Right.
So,
it don't need to rhyme anymore. His rants.
Right. So can you picture 37?
His rants
again,
hold more weight, than his rhymes.
37 reinforces once again the messianic association, in particular with these Gemini artists whose strong point is communication, the sword, the word, right? The ability to understand the concept of words or worlds. And these people have been the framers of reality, of culture with their words, with the pictures that they have painted. Geminis, a lot of them fall into that particular description. If we look at Pac, if we look at Big, 3,000, Ye, even Jada,
K. Dot.
yeah, you know, this once again the messianic aspect of being able to convey your message to the masses in a way in which is magnetic. How do you know that it's magnetic? Because they start conforming to your word,
Right.
right? That within itself, right there, is messianic energy. Politicians would kill for it, priests would kill for it, and kings loathed it. You know what I'm saying? We're not putting into perspective the powers that these quote unquote regular individuals have in comparison to if they was part of a royal court in the 1500s, in the 1600s, and the common man had a sword. He had Spittsville.
Right.
You feel me? And he could sway the masses. They want to off with your head because you would be a rival to the king.
Right.
Because everything is about controlling the narrative. You don't let nobody else get an edge up on the narrative, nigga, or they can edge you out.
Not a, yeah.
38.
You protect that with
right?
everything.
You got to protect the narrative by any and all means.
Facts.
The narrative is everything. So these people are encroaching upon the narrative because they got a beak, they got a flute, they got a platform, they got a bullhorn.
Right.
You feel me? So yeah, these things have to be tweaked and interrupted. You know what I'm saying? And attacked by any and all means. So we seen this energy, you know, this higher form of the 6-point energy, even teaming up with the Zoes, you know, with that Scorpion voodoo to go against that lower form 6-point energy, you know what I'm saying? Of maybe what the 6 God might represent. And, you know, granted, when it comes to Hendrix and Drake, both of them represent an aspect of toxic Scorpion masculinity.
Right.
You feel me? That is undifferentiated, that has not come from a scorpion on his belly to an eagle to a phoenix type of transformation yet.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And we know that the shit is done through the heart because in the sky, the Antares is the heart of Scorpio. That's the red part
Right.
of Scorpio that blinks in the sky. And it's also the name of the auto-tune machine that these
Yes.
men have popularized their career from. Future in particular, when he got a broke heart, he went to auto-tunes and created 5 or 6 classics off of a broke heart utilizing auto-tune. His broke heart was the catalyst for his success. Right?
That's right.
After Jay-Z did what? DOA,
The auto tune.
and he bodied auto-tune with T-Pain, but the Scorpio resurrects it because auto-tune Antares is the heart of Scorpio. So
Right.
once the Scorpio got his heart broke, he was able to use auto-tune to redeem his career and inspire legions of other niggas to pledge the toxic masculinity to
Start
say
a whole movement.
start a whole movement, right?
You know?
So again, there's so much ground that we have to cover here, and we don't necessarily
Look.
have the time to do it.
Blue.
All right, yes. So we're winding down to the 2-hour mark, and because I want to respect the time of the station, Red has another presentation coming, and we also going to be simulcast and streaming this on Black Magic 363. I want to be mindful of the time constraints, and we want to cap it around the 2-hour mark. So I want to somewhat wind it down now. There's so much more. Like I said, there's so much more that has to be covered, that needs to be covered, and it's impossible for us to be able to do that all this particular evening. But I do think that we had a wonderful start. We got a great conversation going.
Yes.
I
Beautiful
think that
conversation.
We knocked down some answers.
Drop
pertain
one in the chat if y'all gonna be in the building on the
Yeah.
7th. Let's just see who's gonna be pulling up. Drop one in the chat if you will be here on the 7th when Blue is able to deliver his full lecture that he is putting together and whatnot. You know what I mean? One of those classics once again.
And yeah, I'm real excited because we actually solved the 3-body problem in this lecture.
The 3-body problem,
Yes,
right?
yes. And again, inadvertently,
Yeah.
I was doing this for myself based on my lecture.
Right.
And then they told me what the show was about. And then I went and watched it and I was like, oh, I had already addressed the answer to that in my lecture just on my own.
Right.
Just based on how this eclipse is lining up. Because you can't understand, or you can't not understand the 3-body problem, but still have the full observation and absorption of the 444 eclipse and get the fullness of it. So I'm like, yeah, family, if you got the information, go for that shit, because you can be more intentional, right? All 380 plus of y'all, if you have more intel, more information, you could be more intentional, right? Going into this observation. Because whatever you observe with your eyes that you are intentional about, you have a better opportunity to collapse the wave into a particle, right?
That's
and
a
you
fact.
can utilize the energy without the energy utilizing you, because I hear a lot of trepidation based on people not knowing what the dynamic is. If you have melanin in your body, you should not be afraid of the dark. If you have melanin in your body, you should not be averse to being mutated by certain aspects of radiation that are going to impact this planet anyway, right? What I'm saying is, oh, how do you prepare? You get more information so you could be cognizant and more aware of how you're interacting and interfacing with energy that you're engaging with at any and all times. Because there's solar flares that are happening all year that you need to be mindful of. When my phone fills up and my shit don't technically be full, but then it's full, I know that I'm getting impacted by solar flares. I know that there's something happening in my biofield that's making me skits. And it reflects in technology, right? There's different periods of times that my body goes through natural retrograde when it's outside of retrograde season. These are the things that I'm aware of to tell me, yo, there's something going on that I need to be hyper aware of. Or maybe today ain't the day to be doing this because I might be in a detriment, right? The day that I have mad internet issues, I shouldn't go live unless I want to go through some Herculean feat of going through the motherfucking, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Through the challenges and the tides of saying, I'm going to persevere in front of y'all. And
Right.
yeah,
the roller
but
coaster shit.
yeah, other than that, I'm falling back. I might find the darkest place on the 8th and get some grams and go into the darkest crevices of my mind, coinciding with the darkest time outside, to go inside so I could emerge like the sun does, even more glorious, vainglorious. That's what I saw when I observed the sun in 2017 during the Great American Eclipse.
Right.
It bounced back stronger. You feel me? It got low to bounce higher.
Right.
And then I was, the higher form of energy was accessible throughout the rest of the day. So, yeah,
you were just
make it through the
feasting.
darkness. Make it through your 4 minutes on the 444s, because 4 days from now will be the 8th, and the shit's going to last for 4 minutes, and it won't be around until 2044. And even in New York, it's going to happen at, I think, 344 or something like, all of that fly stuff is going on. So.
Yeah.
And crazy fact, if y'all don't know, that the on the East Coast time and main time, New York time, the eclipse end at 3:33.
See? Yeah.
To this day,
Right?
3 3
to this
So-
day.
All of these auspicious times and these numbers, again, know who you are, and you will know specifically how to interact and interface with this energy, whether this is the portal for you to jump through or for you to stand back from. All right. But please pull up on us on the 7th. We're going to have more information for you to make better, more informed decisions about your personal affairs in your life. Family, I got this book that I'm coming out with called Metamorpheus, right? And it's laying out this premise of the Black mythos, right? And you can pre-order it. You feel me? You can get your pre-orders now. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna give you the site real quick. And yeah, whatever I don't get to cover in this lecture, I'm definitely putting these books out. Technology has afforded us the opportunity
Fact.
to really step up our production in
Fact.
real time. So ain't no pump faking. You know what I mean? We putting everything
Gotta do
out that
that.
needs to be out. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
gotta do
Metamorpheus, that's METAMOORPHEUS.com. Metamorpheus.com. You can get the pre-sale. Yeah, METAMOORPHEUS.com. Metamorpheus.com, family. You can snatch the pre-sale for the book that is coming, the Black Christos Mythos. And I'm telling you, we are cooking with hot grease.
Hot.
And yes, good brother, let him know about the election.
Yes, family. So we have a special going down for the first 100. Well, let's just say the first 99 ticket holders that are in the building. We are giving away 4. I repeat, 4 in the bundle of the ALKEBULAN 44 bundle, and that's all 4 lectures that we have done leading up. Right, we started on an eclipse. We actually started our series in 2022 on an eclipse, a solar eclipse, and we're going to be closing it out on number 5 on the solar, on the solar eclipse. So that's our mythos. That's how we do magic and whatnot. That's how we basically cast our spells and whatnot. So be in the building on the 7th when we cast our spell. If anybody knows the spellcaster ALKEBULAN 44, the magician that man is. If anybody knows the warlock that Blue Pill is, the master decoder, just know that we're gonna put things into its proper perspective.
Yes.
And beyond just unpacking some shit, we're gonna unpack and repack, and get the cells in your DNA charged up. So when that alignment happens on the 8th, you're gonna have information, right, and data that is going to help you walk through that portal. So KTLUniversity.com, KTL as in Know the Ledge, university.com. It'll be pinned in the chat. And it's spelled the same way that it sounds, KTLUniversity.com. Like I said, the first 99, we have we in the back office, so we'll know who you are and your email. And we're going to hit you with access to 4 of those quote unquote monumental 4 classics. This is only available for y'all that take action and whatnot and get your tickets. And we will see you on the 7th. It's gonna be lit. We start at 8 p.m. and we're not gonna end until we're gonna end whenever we're gonna end.
Yeah.
We don't have to. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like it'll be recorded.
Right.
You could watch it in segments like how you watch BMF. So
that part.
Let's go.
Right. So again, we want to say thank you. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Get comfortable, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Pull up. Shout out to KTL Plus Studios for holding us down.
Shout out to Industry ATL.
Shout out to Industry ATL. You guys can bear witness to the beautiful artwork behind us. This is the internal tapestry that exists in this temple that has been built to all 5 elements of hip hop here in Atlanta ATL. We highly recommend that you guys make an appointment to tap in. If you have any media needs, you know what I'm saying, this can potentially be the place where you want to come and do business. You know what I'm saying? So please get in contact with us so we can put you directly in contact with who you need to be in contact with to level up your ideas, right? And put some oomph on your imagination and get this thing going. Feel me? You can't help but create in here to the highest of highest degrees.
Yes.
Right?
And we also have a premiere for a video coming up for the new project that we dropping on 420. We about to shake the pillars of the matrix. That cake is coming out the oven on 4/8, right? The day after. That's the day of the eclipse. On 4/8, we'll be dropping some new music. And we'll be dropping some visuals as well. You dig? It's only right that we capture that energy and take that into the cosmos and whatnot. So on 4/8, we're going to be dropping some new tunes on y'all, some new music. And for my Patreons, we'll be doing an exclusive album listening event on 4/8. So make sure y'all tap into that. And then on 4/20, right here in Atlanta, the same place that Brother Rich had his album premiere or his album listening party, we will have the 48 Pillars of Power hosted by Brother Rich, featuring Red and Blue Pill on 4/20. All of we got featured guests involved and invited and whatnot. But we basically will be going through the catalog. We're gonna be touching on our last project that we did together, Twin the album, a little bit of Red Summer, a little bit of Scorpion King, but we're definitely gonna be focusing on his new project, which is 12 songs deep. That's the 48 Pillars of Power Volume 1, and it has a book to accompany it also some merch that you guys are gonna love. So
That's
we
right.
look forward to seeing y'all. Let's celebrate. And we also are releasing our own personal strain, the red and the blue.
That's right.
The sativa and the indica strain
That's right.
on 420, so we could smoke good.
We're-
So you don't have to be
Right.
poisoned.
And it's going to, you know, we're going to have the food in the building.
Yes.
Chef Pablo's going to be here with Pablo's Pies. You know, we're going to be laying out not only the food, but the technology. You know, the technology this will be accompanying the music rollout, the food rollout,
Yes.
the book.
That good
you know,
VR.
Everything.
Yes.
You know,
Okay.
everything powered by technology. I want to shout out Destiny Grind. I want to shout out the Giant. I want to shout out Corey. I want to shout out our good brother Lil Haiti. I want to shout out Brill. I want to shout out all of you
DJ
know,
Skywalker.
DJ Skywalker. Everyone is instrumental to the creative process.
No,
My
Sean.
brother named Sean. You know what I'm saying? Making all of our vendors rich. You know, shout out to my dude Mike. He over there in China cooking. You know what I'm saying? Knocking on doors of
That's right.
manufacturing warehouses right now for the guys. Yo, we got opportunities coming in May to go back to China as well with I would say, with a cultural contingency of cultural ambassadors that
That's
want to go
facts.
into you know industry. You know, feel me? Because
That's
we
facts.
going into the manufacturing district, and we pulling up on the big boys. So
That's fact.
you know that opportunity is going to be available as well for people who really want to level up.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I mean?
So with that being said, family, thank
Yes.
y'all for pulling up. We're gonna be doing Third Eye Thursdays tonight. It's called Lavender AI. That will be very soon. I don't have an exact time on it, but just look out. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell. You
Right.
will receive the notification. We will be back. I have a fiery episode, Third Eye Thursdays, talking about this AI killing machine program that they have called Lavender AI. We got to get into that. That's also going to be a wind up for this vulture culture. So we got a part 2 to what we doing right here. You know what I mean? And it's coming to you very soon. All right. So love and light to the family. Make sure y'all get them tickets though. KTLUniversity.com. That way.
All right. And we're that my family
To this
like to
day. To this day.
say,